Welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice to have you. So, what was the quickest investment decision you ever made?
What was the what?
Quickest investment decision you ever made.
Quickest investment decision I ever made. Huh.
I think the ones you proposed to come to the accelerators kind of 10 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've done a lot of investment decisions within 30 minutes, so it's probably hard to remember which one was fastest.
But usually, how long does it take? If somebody is able to get your attention?
I think in general, not just me, but for anyone on the investment team, we try and make decisions quickly. So usually in 1 or 2 meetings. If we decide to say yes, that process hopefully doesn't take more than 2 to 4 weeks, and paperwork and rest of it may take longer depending on geography, but ideally not much longer than 4 to 8 weeks.
Right.
Sometimes, certain geographies may take longer. We've had a few investments that have taken 6 to 9 months. But
for legalities?
I think actually one of our investments here in Turkey took almost 9 months. Probably because we were not very sophisticated. Investment in Africa took a while. An investment in Thailand, I think we're still working on. But usually most things we do in less than 3 months, and ideally in less than 1 month.
So that's also the kind of standard practice, proposed standard practice for investors, right?
I think we would probably give you feedback in the first meeting about whether we're going to or not going to invest.
Good.
It's not, we usually don't require an investment committee. We don't really have an investment committee. Usually the person who you meet with makes the decision.
Right.
We have 30 or more people on the team now who make investment decisions. So please don't pitch me. I am actually not doing investments.
That's what I'm asking.
Helping raise money for our fund and doing recruiting, and I'm a lot harder to get to, and I'm much more forgetful than these other folks. So try and reach either founders or mentors that are in our network is probably the best way to get connected. But lots of people on our team are empowered to make investment decisions.
Can we start the timer as well, so I don't lose track of time?
Sure.
I like having conversation with Dave. So what's your inner motivation that drives you to throw yoga balls to people when they pitch?
Sorry, what's my motivation that drives me to what?
Throw yoga balls to people.
Balls. I think what you're talking about is when we have companies practice their pitches to get ready for demo day. We like to try and distract them and take them out of... I think a lot of people, when they're practicing their pitch, they're like, there's a script that they're trying to follow, and like they're trying to feel really professional, and it's not really how it goes. We want people to get used to saying that pitch a million different ways. We want them to be doing it when there's lots of distractions. So, and I like throwing things at people, so that's just fun for me. So. No good reason.
It's real life experience, and you can get shut down.
We like to have fun.
So,
It's mostly because I like to have fun. There's not really a good reason other than that.
So what's unique about 500 startups compared to Y Combinator and Techstars? I think this was a question that came.
Unique to 500 compared to YC?
YC and Techstars.
And Techstars.
Or the local accelerators.
I would probably say a focus on customer acquisition and marketing is probably the biggest difference. Probably, well, they've both been around longer than we have. They've been around for about 10 years. We've only been around for 4 or 5. I guess, we probably like to think that we have more fun. I don't know if that's a good reason or not. I mean, I take nothing away. Both of those programs are awesome. I think, PG and Sam have built an amazing program with YC. They've done awesome investments in really big companies.
And you also invest in their startups.
We've invested in over 100 YC companies. We've probably invested in close to 50 Techstars companies. We're an investor in SendGrid, which is one of the bigger Techstars companies. Brad Feld and David Cohen, we've done lots of investments in them. Brad is actually an investor in our fund. So I think there's probably more similarities than differences in a lot of ways. I would probably say we are, of those 3, the most globally facing in terms of we've probably done more deals than anybody in the Valley, probably done more deals outside the Valley for a firm that's from the Valley. Although both programs are now doing more stuff international as well.
I think Techstars like...
I'm taller and sexier than everybody over there. That's the big difference.
Exactly. We have a much more hair on our heads. So
actually, I don't think I'm taller than Sam. Probably not.
don't tweet this, please. So is there
Let's see. I'm in Istanbul and they're not. Actually, I think Techstars is probably here too, but
Yeah.
yes.
Techstars was here, and we haven't seen.
They both run great programs, and
good friends.
you'd be well suited by getting an investment from any of them.
Yeah. So I think I know the answer to this question. Is there a startup that you regret missing the chance to invest?
Uber,
Yeah.
Uber,
Yep.
Uber, and
Yeah,
Uber.
I know.
TransferWise, Instacart.
Why do you think you didn't?
I don't know.
You got cold. You got.
Because I'm fucking stupid. I mean, that's definitely the reason is I'm fucking stupid. Why specifically? I thought Travis was a bit of a playboy and wasn't going to work very hard. And I was right about half of that. I was actually looking for an investment in transportation. I'd been looking at several taxi-related companies.
Did you do any taxi related? I think you did the.
I actually did
Malaysia?
an investment in Zimride, which became Lyft when I was at when I was at Founders Fund and when I was running the FB Fund program. So one of my best investments was actually Lyft.
And also 500 had the taxi app investments
our
in.
managing partner in Southeast Asia,
Yes.
Kai Liang, invested in Grab Taxi, also
yes.
at a pretty reasonably good valuation. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
And we've done a few other transportation investments in a few other markets. I think
right.
one in Mexico and somewhere else, I'm sure.
All right, not bad.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. We make mistakes, a lot of them. But I really fucking wish I'd said yes on that one. I think about that one every day, like every fucking day.
Yeah.
TransferWise also kind of screwed up, and I should have done that one. My partner Christine missed Instacart. I think we kind of feel like when we actually have a company that we passed on that turns into $1 billion company, that's when we've really made it as investors. We like, yes, I made a big fuck up. But obviously we try not to miss things, but we miss a lot.
Will you expose the emails, like Airbnb story went viral?
I also missed Airbnb, but at least I wasn't the only one with that one.
Yeah, exactly. Your emails are not still there.
They were pitching the cereal box stuff. I think this was fall of 2008.
With Barack Obama and the others?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I think it was summer or fall of 2008, during the election.
Yeah, that's how they made their first seed capitals or whatever. So how do you create role models in a young ecosystem? Like, what would you suggest? It's kind of a question like, how do you pick up venture partners? Because I mean, they're for you the head starts.
I think as much as our venture partners are great people, I'm not sure they're always the role models. I think the entrepreneurs from the local markets are the role models, and sometimes some of our venture partners are entrepreneurs, not always. I think the entrepreneurs in the region who have had success hopefully are people who are role models. I think sometimes role models can come from not startup industry too.
Well, because usually there are no ecosystems in emerging.
I think if we're fortunate, then we invest in people who have success and maybe they become role models.
All right.
But it's not usually that we're making them happen, and we're not usually. I probably am not a great role model for a lot of people. Maybe for investors, I don't know.
Yeah, and I know investors criticize you heavily.
Yes, they do.
Because you're telling them you're doing it the wrong way, and I'll prove it to you in 10 years.
I'm doing it a different way.
Yeah, but
yeah, I think
there's no
sometimes
right
there's not necessarily right or wrong, and I think you'll see later, and based on your returns, whether you do well or not. I think I've written pretty extensively about the benefits of a large and diverse portfolio and the risks of a heavily concentrated portfolio, which is probably the traditional structure that most VCs practice. And usually I'm talking about that based on the data that we've collected.
I know you're data-driven. Like, do you really kind of, did that rhetoric kind of arguing, saying that this is a different business model, helped you in raising the funds in local countries?
No, it's probably caused more problems.
Yeah, that's...
Well, I mean, I think just like any other startup, we're a startup, and we're trying to create a different business model for venture, and it looks a lot different than traditional VC, and I think anybody, when they try and do something different, you're going to get a lot of doubts and a lot of skeptics, and you need to prove that what you're doing actually works, and maybe people start believing you
Lots of arrows
later.
in their
But
back.
venture capital funds are 10-year vehicles. Probably most people don't start getting to some level of success with them until 5 to 7 years in. That's right about now where we're starting to see.
All right.
I think if you look back at YC, there were a lot of skeptics with YC even until 2009 and 10 when they were about 5 years old. I think when they started to have some of their billion-dollar successes, that's when people started paying more attention to what was going on there. So
Perfect.
hopefully it's about fucking time, and we'll be able to show them that our model is the right one and it's working and kicking ass.
Yeah, I think so.
But
Especially in emerging
I
economies.
probably swear too much, and I probably don't wear the right clothes.
No, I think you stopped swearing.
Really? Fuck.
I need to get that. As a US fund, which is your favorite startup jurisdiction in Europe to ease your investments and get investor traction?
Sorry, favorite jurisdiction?
Yeah. Like which country is more easier to invest in? Or do you have a favorite? I don't think France
right
is
now,
kind of
probably Southeast Asia is working pretty well. We think there's a lot of opportunity there. We've made a lot of investments in Latin America. Brazil has occasional challenges with labor and tax structure. Mexico has been a great environment for us. We've done a bunch of investments there.
How do you consider Europe?
We have less familiarity in Europe. I say that less familiarity. We've probably done 50 to 100 deals in Europe, so we've only done 50 to 100 deals in Europe.
No worries.
We brought people onto the team now in London and Berlin this year, and so we do have coverage in Europe. We're probably we have brought on someone to focus on Eastern Europe as well, and Russia. We have folks in Israel and in the Gulf, so I think we've got pretty good coverage for Europe now, maybe not every geography.
All right.
Certainly London and the UK market have a lot of potential. I think Germany and Berlin do as well. The EU is not really one geography. It's still fragmented in some ways by language and border, even though there is somewhat of a European identity and somewhat of a currency. I think there's still a lot of different geographies going on.
And the jurisdiction is different, and then everything is different.
But you do have, several large 50 to 100 million person countries, and so, in a lot of ways, maybe, more similar to Turkey in a lot of ways than not.
It's big enough itself. This is an interesting one. I didn't know this. Somebody's telling that we know that you lived in your car for a time. What can you say about your experiences? What's the story behind it? I don't know.
I was doing a startup in the mid-90s. I think it was 95 or 96 when that happened, and I was working a lot. I was probably working a good 16 hours a day, or at least I was not sleeping a lot. I had an apartment that I was paying, I don't know, $800 or $900 a month. I had a bed, I had a TV that wasn't hooked up or anything, and then there was a piano that was my wife's piano, but she was living in a different state and wasn't playing it. So it was like, I was kind of like, why the hell am I paying $900 or $1,000 a month and I'm not doing anything except sleeping here 4 to 6 hours? And I had an extra room in the office that we weren't using, and I was paying rent on it. I said, I should just move into the room in our office, put all my shit in my car, and take showers at the YMCA. And so I did that, and I saved a bunch of money on not paying rent, but it was a little weird explaining to people why I had a bunch of clothes in my backseat and why I was homeless running a startup.
That's interesting.
Anyway, you do what you have to do as an entrepreneur. I
agree. Let's have some fun. What's your favorite shisha flavor?
Favorite shisha flavor? Grape mint, probably, yes.
Grape mint, yeah. Me too. I don't like grape mint. Guys, if you're going to ask a question, please don't ask a question that you can Google and find an answer, right? What's the percentage you have to, and because they're anonymous, I can just
don't listen to him. Ask whatever fucking question you want. Just go for it. It's okay.
10 to 8%. How many startups you think you'll be able to close in Turkey in like 12 months?
In 12 months?
Yeah. In 3 years. I mean,
in the next year, I would expect we'll do at least 10 investments in the next year. I'm not sure if Erhan's in the room. You think you can do 10? 10? 20? 20? 30? 30? This is an auction. 10, do I hear 10, 10, 15, 15, 20, 20, 25, 25, 30, 30, 35? More than 105, oh, come on, that's easy. More than 105 years? All right, 10 to 20 per year, easy, right?
That includes the accelerator companies, not just the fund.
Yeah, probably. Right. I would say at least one per month, hopefully more like 2 per month once we get up to speed. All right. We may sort of have some getting started issues, but yeah. Nice.
So you're invited to Morocco live on stage, and I will let that person to come and really ask.
I have to apologize. I was supposed to go to Morocco for the Endeavor Forum, and I didn't realize how far it is to get to Morocco from here. And we have an announcement about some things tonight that I have to finish here. So unfortunately, I can't make it this time. I apologize.
Would any of your partners
I really want to come to Morocco, so I will come back. I will come to Morocco.
So would you send one of your venture partners 24th, 25th in October? I'm really serious.
We'll see. Maybe Andrea wants to go. I think we had somebody from our team go to Morocco.
Find them and ask them.
Earlier this year, Mojan went either last year or this year, I think. I'm sorry. My fault.
Okay, so we did this. If this is a game playing, how do we beat you in your job?
How to beat me in my job?
Yeah.
That's pretty easy, I'm sure. I'm kind of a crappy entrepreneur. I'm working on it.
All right. Did you really try to raise...
Can you guys do a better job? Hurry up, come on.
Yeah. Did you really try to raise funds in 2008 crisis? How was your experience?
It sucked. I wasn't able to do it. I tried to raise a fund in 2008, and August of 2008 was a challenging time to do anything in the financial markets, so was not able to raise a fund. Fortunately, my plan B option, Sean Parker, was looking for someone to help do marketing and Founders Fund, and Sean was a pretty crazy person to work for and work with, but he gave me a great opportunity, and I got to start investing in Founders Fund.
So what's your net worth?
What's my net worth?
Yep, it's tough.
Liquid net worth is probably hardly anything. I own a house on the East Coast that's worth less than $1 million. I own some investments in private companies that might be worth $500,000 to $1 million. Probably 95% of my net worth is in our fund, and I don't know. We'll see if we make money on Fund 1 and Fund 2, then I might be worth $10 million someday. We'll see. I'm not rich yet.
So what's your five first things you ask an entrepreneur when they pitch it?
5 first things.
Or first 3. You go
What's
ahead.
monthly revenue over the last 6 months? What's your growth rate? What's the margin? Do you understand the unit economics for customer acquisition cost and revenue generated? What's the timing on that? What's your strategies for growth?
Perfect. What are your plans considering Iran?
What?
What are your plans considering
By the way, that was the best
Iran?
question so far. That was actually a useful question.
Any plans on Iran after the sanctions are lifted?
Yes. Well, if sanctions are lifted, I don't know if we should get so confident to say after, but I'm very optimistic. Yeah, I think we're really excited about Iran as an investment opportunity. We know there's tons of smart people in Iran. There's lots of smart Persians in the U.S. I have a bunch of friends who are Persian. I went to college with Iranian immigrant. So yeah, I think in a lot of ways very similar profile to Turkey. Higher internet penetration, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. At least they say so. I'm not sure. Right? Yes?
Right.
And of course they're smarter, right? Yeah.
Well,
how many people in the audience are Iranian right now?
It's pretty good.
Okay. How many people from Turkey in the audience? Okay. So let's have a math off for the Persians and the Turks. Let's see who's got there. I don't know. Obviously, we have to wait until some rules and regulations are changed before we can invest. I think that seems likely. I think that seems likely in the next 6 months, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I'm optimistic I will probably make a visit, at least on a tourist visa, to Iran in the next 3 to 6 months, and hopefully we'll take a bunch of folks over once things pass within the next 6 to 12 months.
Right.
I hear there's a TEDx in Iran in May.
Yep.
think so. Not sure.
How do you see the enterprise sector now? Are they changing their innovation processes?
Enterprise?
Are they, I mean, big corporates, how are they affiliating with startups? Are they helping you to find more startups? Do you exit to big corporates?
You're talking about companies, not the enterprise SaaS
exactly.
market, I guess. Well, I think, companies, larger companies anyway, tend to move slow, tend to innovate slow. They're challenging to work with, and I don't always have a lot of patience for them. However, they usually have customers and money. And so for that, I will deal with the bureaucracy and the slowness and all the other bullshit. And hopefully that's why startups do too. I think it's sometimes questionable marriage for startups and corporates because companies can kill startups by just not making decisions fast. Yeah. And startups can kill themselves by assuming that companies will move faster than they think, or at least as fast as they say, which is not always true. Usually the bargain that makes sense is that the startup has technology, the corporate has customers, and occasionally money that they'll pay you for that. And that's a reasonable marriage or partnership if you can get access to those customers, and that happens somewhat quickly.
Right.
But I think there's often a disconnect between how important startups are to companies and startups' lack of understanding of that.
Yeah, depends on the ecosystem as well. So I like this one especially. How many of you have heard the $1 bazillion club? All right, those of you who haven't, this is a great opportunity. So
those of you who haven't will never hear about it ever, probably.
So want to tell a little bit more about the $1 bazillion?
We decided to work on a TV show that was about startups. It was a reality show. It took us nearly 3 years to get that show together. It took us about 6 months to do the filming. We got one episode to air on Sci-Fi Network, which is a nationally televised network in the US, and if we're lucky, we might get it on a few others, but I think my career as a reality TV show star is going to be extremely limited, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, what are you doing in Africa? Anything?
What are we doing in Africa? Not a lot right now. We invested in Savannah Fund, which is a fund and incubator out of Nairobi. We've done, I think, 1 or 2 investments in South Africa, 2 in Kenya, 2 in Ghana, 4 in Egypt. We'll probably do a lot more in Egypt. I would say there's a lot of opportunities in East Africa, South Africa, and West Africa. Right. But we are still learning about Africa and something else north. Is that what you said? We probably put North Africa into the MENA bucket, and we do a lot of those investments. So we are investing in MENA region, which includes Levant, Gulf, and North Africa, out of Hassan Haider, and at least we'll see what happens there. Yeah. But Africa is probably the one place we haven't done a lot of investments yet, and we're working on that.
Do you agree with Warren Buffett about the unicorn tech bubble?
I don't know that I've read Warren Buffett about the unicorn bubble. I would probably agree that there are lots of overvalued unicorn private companies. There's probably a lot of overvalued public market companies as well. I might argue that the public market is at least as overvalued, if not more so, than a basket of private company unicorn stocks, but that's an argument we'll find out in the future.
Yeah. How do you...
What the fuck is Warren Buffett talking about the private market? He doesn't know shit about the private market. Yeah. He should stay in the public market where he does great work.
Yeah, of course.
He himself has talked about the fact that he does know his ass from a hole in the ground in tech startups or in private companies, and he doesn't generally do business there.
I don't know. I haven't read what he said.
I tend to trust that Warren Buffett does know what he's talking about in most things, but in startups, I might question that.
Yeah. So how can you travel so much?
How do I travel so much? Travel is easy.
You take on a plane, you come.
Meeting amazing startups and founders all over the world, just meeting people all over the world is possibly one of the best jobs on the planet. People pay me, surprisingly, to get on a plane and meet startups all over the world. I feel like I'm totally getting away with murder. It's awesome.
Nice. And while
it's
you're
like
at
magic. I mean, really, getting on a plane and going 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours, you can be on the other side of the planet. It is the closest thing to magic ever. It is like teleportation. It is teleportation. And it's fascinating. I go to 20 countries a year, probably 50 cities a year. I'm on the road 6 months out of 12. And it's changed my life. In the last 5, 6 years, I've probably visited over 40 countries, a bunch of them more than once. Been on every continent on the planet except Antarctica.
Yeah.
It's great. If you have the opportunity, if you can afford to travel, even just a little bit, I highly, highly encourage it. It's one of the most amazing things you will ever do. Don't go do the tourist shit. Go hang out with people. I always say that I travel to other countries not to see things, but to meet people. And people say, oh, you didn't get to go see the sights. You didn't go to do the tourist things. And they're like, no, I got to hang out with entrepreneurs and have coffee and just talk to them. And that's like, you know, as much as I'd love to go see the Blue Mosque and everything else, and I'm sure they're amazing, I'd rather spend the afternoon with an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So can you name top 5 game changer startups?
Top 5 ever?
Yeah,
or
recently.
When? What's that time frame?
Yeah.
Like
Uber
geez, I don't know.
Did the revolution on
Intel,
Airbnb.
Microsoft, Google, Facebook,
fair.
Cisco.
Yeah.
Not sure if those are probably missing a few there. I'd really like to meet Bob Noyce. Unfortunately, passed on. The founder of one of the founders of Intel and one of the founders of Fairchild Semiconductor.
The Trader's 8.
Trader's 8. Leader of Trader's 8. Pretty amazing dude.
Yeah. If you haven't watched the Silicon Valley, there's a documentary.
Something Venture, cool. Great
Something Venture, yeah. Did you ever invested in startups that are founded by husband and wife? Or brothers or sisters, like family-based things?
Actually, a bunch of times we have invested in husband-wife teams, or I should say founders who are seeing each other romantically, whether they're married or not, and whether they're male or female or not. And we've had a lot of great results from that. Actually, some of our biggest exits came from husband-wife teams. SlideShare was a personal investment of mine. It was husband-wife-brother. Wildfire was also husband-wife, big exit. Moonfruit out of UK was husband-wife exit. Kush to Smule was husband-wife exit. Ton of companies. I mean, we invest in a lot of women founders. We invest in a lot of founders from different environments and backgrounds. So in general, we feel like there's probably people who discriminate against things that they don't understand, people that they're not familiar with, and we probably want to take advantage of that. So I always tell people that we're arbitraging sexism and racism all over the globe to our own selfish benefit. It's not, we love you, but that's not why we do it necessarily.
Yeah. So last two, have you ever invested in a company that was in Kickstarter or IndieGoGo before or during that time when they were becoming successful?
I know we've invested in companies after they've raised money on Kickstarter and IndieGoGo. I think we've probably done investments in companies before as well. We don't do as many investments in hardware, so we haven't come across as many of those. We've invested in several crowdfunding platforms ourselves, AngelList most notably, a few others I'm probably forgetting at the moment.
Maybe the one.
Running out of steam.
You're invited again for many things. That's okay. Not this one. Yeah, then maybe the last one, like, how can I come and work for you for free?
How can I come and work for you for free? That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a closing one. Take it away.
Yeah. Erhan might be hiring.
All right.
You know, I think we hope to build a big company with 500 startups, just like other people. 500 startups is startup zero for us. We started with 5 people. We're almost 100 people now. It's probably not the fastest growing startup. In 5 years, I think we could have probably gone faster, but we'll see where the next 5 years go.
Exactly the same thing Techstars. So we could have grown faster in emerging economies especially.
Yeah, and I think the opportunity to create a large company doing venture capital, doing investing, doing investor education as well as entrepreneur education, I could easily see us being a 500 to 1,000 person company in a few more years. Maybe if we're lucky, we could be a 1,000 to 10,000 person company, but that'll take a lot better management than I can probably pull off. So if any of you want to become CEO of 500 startups in the next 5 years, let me know, because I'm probably going to fire myself soon. Somebody in the back there? Where was the 9th grader from Turkey? Is he still in the room?
No, we don't have it. We have a 17-year-old in the pitching, but
maybe I'll give him a job in about 5-10 years.
Yeah. All right.
Or her.
Yeah, one question from the crowd who came late and who didn't use the app to ask questions. Going 5, going 4.
Burning question. It can't suck. You have to be awesome.
Like, I really hesitate, but yeah. Be very quick. But I know he's been pitching for the last 3 days.
Sort of, yes, go.
Yeah, come closer, but quick. Next in line will be Christopher Schroeder, and we'll use the same thing for him as well, but I have questions this time for him more than that.
Hi.
I'm Ziad. I have a startup called Startup News. How crazy you must go, okay, to reach investors and to pitch? How crazy?
How crazy should you
I'll
be?
I'll kick you. I'll do a flip kick.
If I'm the investor, not that crazy. If it's other people, really crazy. So I tell people this rule. So first of all, if you try and come up to pitch me like in 30 seconds and shove something in my face, the chance that I'm actually going to invest in you is really fucking small, and arguably worse than if you never pitched me at all, maybe. So it's probably not a great idea to try and pitch me right, like, hi Dave, here's my thing, here, let me shove this in your face, and hey, can you put this, and like, put money in my company. It's not gonna fucking happen. So if you shove a business card in my face, yeah, it's not gonna fucking happen. Like, really. I'm not gonna be that person. I'm not gonna trust that what you're talking about is like, it's kind of crazy. So here's the thing, probably getting to know someone else on the team, and not being an insane, psychotic son of a bitch or a person for 3 times. I call it the rule of 3, which is be in the room with the person that you want to influence 3 times, and don't be crazy. That's really it. Just don't be psychotic, don't be fucking crazy, be a normal person. And after 3 times, we'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that person. They were not psychotic or fucking crazy. They might be a reasonable person. I might invest in them. But when you start exhibiting the crazy fucking psycho behavior, it doesn't mean that you're a great entrepreneur. It just means you're psycho fucking crazy. And I generally don't want to invest in people like that. You have a really poor sense of social awareness, and that's not a good thing. So just be aware that when you're rushing up to the stage to pitch me, it's probably a negative signal.
Yeah.
Another hack is to find the, yeah, see, this guy just doesn't listen. He's like still shoving it in my fucking face. Oh, you think that because the card says to pitch Dave that that's good advice?
No,
do you believe everything you read? Okay, sorry, I'm not giving you a hard time. Another hack is to find the second most important person in the room or less important people and work that. So like whenever you see somebody, like 30 people are like, trying to like put their claws into that person, and then, the husband, the wife, the assistant, the partner, the other person who's got like 2 people around them, go make friends with that person. Hack that system, build trust that way. Probably still don't be a psychotic fucking crazy person.
Yeah, that can help.
But it's an easier hack to work than like 30 people coming at me.
Nice. This is a perfect closing because I really don't want you to rush to the stage after it's finished. Hassan is here, Erhan is here, there are lots of 500 startup people here, Albert is here, the t-shirt
Plenty of people who are not me with decision-making authority. But still, don't fucking pitch them with your crazy shit.
Yeah, not be psychotic.
Get to know them.
Yeah, super nice. Always good to have you.
Thank you very much. Great.
Thank you.